Mark Lazary of Avenue Capital weighing in, saying ESG is going to provide the best growth opportunities in asset management out there. Bloomberg spoke with a panel of experts and collected their investment ideas to help fight climate change. So when we think about sustainable investments, we typically think of wind and solar. What are some of the infrastructure plays that people are looking at right now that are different?
One interesting area that people were talking about that I hadn't heard much about was the power of ocean waves, generating power from ocean waves. And this was an idea. We already see some companies using wave power to light buoys and things, but this was the idea of having like a floating computer center powered by the waves, but also the cooling provided by the waves. So, it's a no carbon emission strategy. Very early in this, in this area, but very intriguing.
Yeah, and there has been some discussion about underwater turbines and things of that nature to kind of generate the same sort of power as wind turbines. I'm wondering, what about blockchain? There was something about blockchain and climate change. It's sort of like take all the popular buzzwords and mush them together.
It's true.
What's this?
Well, this was about using blockchain to track illegal fisheries, or just the path of your fish in general, so that it's a much more transparent supply chain. You know what you're getting, if it's fresh, et cetera, et cetera. So there's a lot going on just in terms of using blockchain to track, fisheries.
Okay. And what about other investments? There were a host of other things, including plant-based meats as being a potential place to invest?
Yeah, that was interesting because we've heard a lot about plant-based meat and cultivated meat, cultured meat, lab-grown meat. But we talked to one investor who talked about an alternative protein that would be made by cells of shrimps. It's not of shrimp. It's not as far along as the other ones, but it's an alternative protein that could help with the overfishing in the oceans, as well as being an interesting alternative.
Is there a sense of whether people can invest sort of less directly, or whether they're sort of public securities, or are these all private direct investments at sort of venture capital levels?
A lot of these are startups and venture capital investments. There are some, like water was an area that people talked about. And there are some water utilities, but there aren't a lot of publicly traded ones. So this is more like a startup fund, or getting involved with like a venture accelerator fund, or just some sort of private entity, more than like an ESG fund. These are more targeted.